to the two of them and many other people, actually, as I said, saw beyond my immigration status, my heavily accented voice, and saw a kid who was really trying to do something for himself.
Did you decide when you were in college that what you were going to study and that this was the path that you were
Actually,
going to
no,
take?
I mean, when I was in college, I was in a pre-med track. I thought I was destined to become a medical doctor. Until I found out that gross anatomy was more gross than anything else.
I have a great
Did
story
you
to tell
tell
you.
a story about that?
So I thought that, you know, what do you do if you have a pre-med background? You know, you're perfectly suited to going to high school and teach science. And I did. I taught calculus, chemistry, physics. And, you know, the bug infected me. I loved it. I really felt a connection. I like to communicate. I like to tell people stories. I like to influence. And I felt that I no doubt had a potentially greater role doing what I do now, even as a teacher or as a school administrator, than I would have had as a doctor. You know, being a doctor is a very individual, interactive endeavor, right? You hurt, I heal.
Yeah.
And education, you can actually address a much bigger level of hurt. And if you do it right, bring about solutions to society itself.
I know I learned that. I wasn't always a teacher, so it was later, you know, when I had an opportunity. So
Right.
it was very life-changing for me when I started to be at New World in terms of what you see, the impact, and the impact that you've had, certainly since you're superintendent, but just how the long that I've known you. I didn't know you prior, but it really has made a tremendous difference. So that's one of the stories. Is there a second story that you want
No,
to
I think
tell?
I put two in one.
Good.
So the immigration and I actually gave you three. Immigration, the college experience, and the homelessness episode.
Let me ask you this: did you speak English when you came?
I didn't.
And you speak what, 5 languages now?
I do.
I've done my research. And you know Bob Strickland?
Yeah, very well.
Oh, I know Bob too. And randomly, I saw him right before.
Oh, really?
He was having lunch at Books About. So I did, and he said, you know, he speaks 5 languages. I didn't know. That's incredible. So did you learn them all when you came to the States? Did you know someone you
I came in speaking Portuguese and
Portuguese.
French
Okay.
and conversational Italian.
Wow.
And then I learned English and Spanish almost simultaneously here.
Wow. Pretty
And when
amazing.
you were learning English and Spanish, now this is interesting, not from Miami, where everybody was already speaking Spanish and English when you came in what year?
82.
82.
Yeah,
So
it
this was
pretty
already
Hispanic
Yeah.
already.
pretty.
Mhm.
Actually, it was you know, the first connections I made were with down here in South Florida were with Hispanic folks, young people.
Yeah.
It's
Makes sense.
it was easier to communicate in me in Portuguese, them in Spanish, me with some broken Spanish, and
Yeah.
I mean, if you speak Italian, Portuguese, French, you're probably going to pick up Spanish
Incredible.
fairly easily, and I did. And English kind of came naturally, and it's by far the language I prefer to communicate the best in.
And you don't have an accent.
I think I do.
Oh no, not to my ears.
Sometimes I think it comes out.
I teach acting. Yes, you do. It's ever so
I think it's there.
No, barely. No, it's incredible.
Really?
Yeah, for someone coming late, especially you know, sometimes I have to tell my students, you have to go speak English at home now because your dialect is coming, and they're second and third generation, and they still have that.
Well, at that time in '82, there were hardly any Portuguese people here. I really didn't meet any Portuguese people.
Are there more?
More
There are a
Brazilians.
growing Brazilian community
Yeah.
that speaks Portuguese, albeit with an accent. But so to me, it was sink or swim. It was real full immersion.
You were
I
how
had to-
old?
17.
17.
So I had to learn how to speak English.
How did you get up to Barry? I mean, I know it's a Catholic school. But
Yeah, I started out at Broward College.
Okay.
And did very well there. Graduated summa cum laude, and that's how I was privileged and honored to receive the presidential scholarship, which was a full ride scholarship to Barry. I had other offers, but this was a full ride.
Yeah. That's
And
and living quarters at the same time.
no, I didn't live on campus because I worked in Broward County. I worked in restaurants and the like, so I didn't move at that time to Miami Shores. So I commuted every day.
Okay.
What advice do you give to kids who've had the same kind of difficult
Challenges,
trip,
Yeah.
you know, to get here?
From the impossible to the inevitable, there's nothing but belief, skill, and will.
Hope you got that quote,
Write that
please.
down, just in case.
We all face impossible challenges and conditions, but strong belief that you actually can control your own destiny. You can design it, in fact.
That's very
accumulating
inspirational.
skill that will enable and empower you to conquer anything. And then the will, sort of having the courage to take it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I repeat that to me a lot, and folks who are around me hear me say it all the time, because I think it's fundamentally the fuel that has propelled me and continues to propel me.
And it does teach. It's a very empowering teaching statement.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. We sometimes don't focus enough on that. We emphasize the hard skills and the soft skills, which really can define one's success, or ignored.
Mm-hmm.
Grit and determination, courage, and values and principles. The ability to work in teams, particularly diverse teams, more and more these days. That's often ignored. And what the most successful people that I know and that I read about, that's actually their forte. That's where they shine. That's actually what leadership is about. Leadership is not about being able to recite
Right, or make the highest
knowledge or
grade.
data or quotes.
Score the highest score.
Yeah, no. Leadership is about being able to make connections, about being able to understand and have a vision that you actually own, believe in, and being able to communicate that vision in an influential way that drives others as well. Particularly now in the Google era, when anything you ever want to know, it's
there.
one
Click away.
One click away. I think that has liberated our minds and our hearts to be much more open to other endeavors. You can actually now concentrate in greater levels on human beings. I must understand you rather than the data about you.
Yeah.
Because everything else is researchable, and I think that in part sort of defines the transition now in schools. It's not just about memorizing and being able to repeat, and it's not learning to do, it's learning by doing, which is different. Our kids are impatient now, so now I think the key assets that we need to impart to kids is really teaching them how to think and how to learn, because learning is not limited to bell to bell. Learning is a life constancy, right?
So how do you fight what's going on when legislators come along and impose things that must be done or don't want to change systems?
Well, you negotiate some of that, and sometimes you have to take hard positions, as I have. I eliminated 22 assessments at the beginning of this year. I just eliminated another 300 end-of-course assessments, because I think that, and we advocated aggressively, testified in Tallahassee, and the governor did approve legislation that finally allowed us to do what I have been asking for. And as soon as that opportunity opened up, we took advantage of it. So how do you fight it? It's not fighting people, it's not fighting against anybody, it's actually fighting for what's right for kids. And
Terrific.
And if you're driven by belief, then you can never stray away. If I do, then I'm not worthy of the position I have. And somebody should tell me, or I should recognize it.
Well, we're glad you're staying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been a very, very positive change in this community since you've been at the helm.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think education here
if people
is
feel,
much more respected,
Mm-hmm.
in their.
I sense that.
Yeah.
And truly, whenever you would show up at New World, everybody would be thrilled.
Yeah.
It makes a difference when you see the people that you're in a sense working for and you're working with have taken that interest, and I know in my particular faculty, we love it that you would actually show up and notice in the same way that we think we want to notice the students. We want to know that the students, that we see you, the individual, not the whatever. We've always felt that at New World, that when you would walk in the building, it would be a great day for us.
Yeah, it was a great day for me. I'm in schools all the time, and it gives me the energy. So much so that I decided to open 2 schools across the street.
You
I'm
did,
the principal
I read that,
because I want to be that close. And when there's a bad day here, I find a good day there.
Oh, that's so great. But the students feel that too. The students take notice of that type of interest. They really, because they'll talk. We have chatty kids if they're in the acting biz, and they'll talk about, really, you would come here, you know, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And plus you're a very natty dresser, so.
Oh, thank you.
said
Yeah,
it
And
really
I
like
also
that
go to the
too.
Rising Stars events, and I go
Yeah.
to fundraising events for Newell School of the
Exactly.
Arts or any other school, Dash, you name it. I mean,
Well, you
But
were
it-
just at
I
Women
believe-
of Tomorrow where
It
I
makes
Yeah.
a
was as
difference.
well.
So we're very,
You know,
very grateful.
kids need to see you in all those different ways, and they will aspire to maybe be great teachers and
I
follow
hope
through.
so.
So
I hope so.
Yeah.
we're very grateful, and we're
Thank
very
you.
grateful for the time that you're taking.
No, thank
today.
you.
Now, you're willing to be in the production,
That's that involves me actually like being on stage and doing something.
Yes,
telling the story.
she's going to give you a dramatic version of your
Well, pretty much
story,
everything you said, but it will be.
but it'll only be 3 minutes or
Mhm.
4 minutes.
And who are the other people who are doing this? as
Oh,
well?
we have
Um,
quite an impressive cast.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Katie Sorensen, Mickey Canton, you know,
Sally Heyman, Bob
Sally
Josephsberg,
Heyman, Bob
the attorney.
Josephsberg, possibly we think Mayor Regalado, Raquel Regalado.
I like it. I think it would be forget about fun. I think it would be impactful. And to me, if it can have an impact on somebody, I think it's worthwhile doing.
I think for me working on it, because I've come to know a lot of people that I didn't know, and I was telling Marsha a lot of research on everybody before I have the opportunity to meet them, or afterwards when I'm trying to write a story that really is their spirit ultimately for a short amount. I think people are going to be very surprised, even though you know a story, you really don't until you see the person up close and personal tell it. And for all those people in the audience, I think it will be really impactful, and certainly for our young people to know that people really have had challenges in their lives and they have succeeded. And I mean, look, to come at 17 with the will to do it, and when you feel like you don't have the will, no, look what you've accomplished,
And I think that you are going to drive a lot of people to come hear your story.
Yep.
Because they would be teachers or their parents, and they want to get a sense of, who's in
Right.
charge of the programming
this is,
here.
yeah.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, count me
that's
in.
really important.
Count me
So
in.
we
And-
have one big rehearsal. Can we count on you to show up for a piece of it? It'll be the Sunday.
We'll work it into the schedule,
Yeah.
but not
Okay.
for the full.
No, but what I
No,
said
he
to
doesn't have
Denise
to be there the
is
whole
I said,
time.
I know you're a pro. I've seen your work. When it's done, I'll arrange it so that there's a time you come, and the same thing for the